Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to dive into Moore v. United States, a significant case that addresses fundamental questions about taxation and constitutional rights. This case has sparked debate about the extent of Congress's power under the 16th Amendment and how income is defined for tax purposes. Let's break it down by understanding the background, the arguments, and the potential implications of this court case. A little introduction to this case. This case was argued in the Supreme Court starting December 5th as of 2023 and decided recently, June 20th, 2024. Some key players are Charles and Kathleen Moore, who are the plaintiffs, Keeson Craft, which is the U.S.-controlled foreign company in India, and the U.S. Supreme Court. Also, including the U.S. Supreme Court, and that is Justice Kavanaugh, who gave the tax opinion and ruling. So one of the key arguments that we'll be talking about is whether taxation on unrealized gains is constitutional. And a couple other important parts or points to make are Congress's power under the 16th Amendment and the definition of what really income is. A little background. The case originates from a tax provision in the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which was under the Trump administration, which imposed a one-time mandatory repatriation tax. This tax applied to the U.S. shareholders of foreign corporations and aimed to tax undistributed earnings that had accumulated abroad. The plaintiffs, Charles and Kathleen Moore, invested in an Indian company but did not receive any dividends or income. Despite this, they were taxed at over $14,000 based on their share of the company's retained earnings. They eventually paid the tax and then filed lawsuit against the IRS. They argued that this tax violated the 16th Amendment because it taxed unrealized gains or income they had not yet received yet. The central legal question in this case is, does the mandatory repatriation tax violate the Constitution by taxing unrealized income? Now, the Moore's argument was they claim that the tax is unconstitutional because it taxes them on money they have not actually received yet, which doesn't fit the traditional definition of income under the 16th Amendment. Historically, income has been understood as realized gains, something tangible or that you did receive. The U.S. government's argument is that the government defends the tax, stating that Congress has broad powers to define income for taxation. It argues that taxing retained foreign earnings aligns with global economic realities and prevents further tax avoidance. Some implications. If the Supreme Court rules in favor of the Moores, it could reshape the U.S. tax law. A couple things that could happen would be striking down this tax, the MRT, and siding with the Moores could limit Congress's ability to tax unrealized gains, which could affect certain provisions like wealth taxes and global minimum taxes. Along that similar line, if the Moores did win this case, federal tax revenues could be significantly reduced, just because it would narrow down the definition of income and sort of limit the U.S.'s or the IRS's ability to tax income. There's also the other side of things where if this decision were to side with the U.S., it may set a precedent, especially for maybe wealthy individuals who receive much of their net worth via unrealized gains, to be taxed on those unrealized gains. In conclusion, in the Moore v. United States, it ended with in favor of the U.S. and the legitimacy of the MRT tax. Some of the reasons for this decision included Section 8 on how taxes on income are indirect taxes, and the 16th Amendment confirms that taxes on income need not be apportioned. The government argues that the MRT is a tax on income and therefore does not need to be apportioned. And then subpart F, which claims that U.S.-controlled foreign companies are to be treated as S-corps with pass-through entity properties, meaning that the income that the company receives is ultimately the income of the shareholders. It will be interesting to see moving forward the far-reaching consequences of this decision for not only individuals and businesses, but also for policymakers. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you.